I need to address the Mary Sue Mizu allegations. It's true, Mizu is a bit of a Mary Sue. I love Blue Eye Samurai. I think it might be one of my all-time favorites at this point, mostly because of Mizu's look and the non-binariness of it all. I really can forgive a lot of the kind of stupid plot holes and bad fight scenes and derivative music that is sometimes used in Blue Eye Samurai because of the striking presence that Mizu has in her look and her determination and her vengeance. I also find there's so much to relate to for me personally with her character. Having two different cultural backgrounds, being non-binary, feeling motivated by your trauma and seeking justice and sort of feeling totally feeling that is your life path, to seek justice for the things that you've been wronged by. I do have some ideas about how to fix the Mary Sue in Mizu. Now, before I go into that, I am looking forward to season 2. And even if they don't fix any of the plot holes and the show continues to have really stupid parts, I think this show in general will all have been worth it for the Bride episode. That episode was one of the best animation and television episodes I've ever seen. It was so relatable. Like, I feel like anyone who's had a bad breakup can watch this episode and feel like, yes, I went through that. And that episode just had such succinct storytelling, like just on its own as an episode, it like fulfills so much. So again, if none of these plot holes get addressed, we got an incredible episode of television, an incredible story arc. But here's how I think we can address some of these issues. One of the things that really bothers me about this show is Mizu just getting stabbed like directly in life-altering kidneys, in the intestines, in the foot, and then she just like keeps going, and there's not even, it's almost like she has no weaknesses. She just kind of ends up winning and always surviving, even when she loses. So, first of all, I do love the fact that this show doesn't have like a hard magic system in regards to the Onryo. It's very much, the Onryo arises in Mizu when people project it onto her, and the society has created the Onryo and projected it onto Mizu. And so it's a never-ending cycle that feeds into itself. And in a kind of atheistic spirituality, that is a good read of the situation and how demons work if you have an atheistic view of things. Which I do think the show sort of takes. It doesn't go too deep into the magic of it all. And, I'm not an expert in Zen Buddhism, but because Zen is referenced in this show and it's, set in Japan, it seems sort of aligned, because I believe Zen is an atheistic religion. So what we need is what I explain to myself whenever Mizu gets into these situations where it's just like, how are you still going? why can't we have an episode of like just downtime in between each time you just get stabbed to like stab the daylights out of? I think we got one episode where she really had some downtime, and that was when after her sword was broken. So the show needs to emphasize the fact that the Onryo spirit is what keeps her going, and that this, in a sense, is not an infallible power. At some point after she's drawn on the Onryo spirit to keep going and fuel her vengeance, it has to start taking a toll on her. We need to have an episode where it is addressed that she cannot continue like this. And I think if we introduce one type of character into Mizu's background, this can all be fixed. We need a flashback episode where Mizu has a sword training master. Now, she has Sword Father, who she learned how to forge swords with. In my opinion, she needs a sword mother. So let's say there is a master samurai who's in hiding that Mizu finds and happens to be a woman as well. Someone who's an outcast from society, someone who sees the similarities in herself in Mizu and decides to take her on as an apprentice, and someone who's never lost a duel, someone who people don't place faith in. So we have this, maybe an old woman who can train Mizu, have a significant portion of her time where she's truly training how to be a samurai, or she's training in the methods and the techniques, and it backs up that, you know, Mizu's ultra confidence in herself when she is wielding her sword. And as we are training with this woman recognizes that Mizu draws upon her Onryo spirit too much. And because she's old and she's been through a lot, and perhaps even drawn on an Onryo spirit herself, being a female samurai, she knows that Mizu will hit her limit. And because Mizu is going to be pretty young at this time, Mizu, of course, is not going to listen to her master. She's going to believe that she's infallible, basically. And then in the second season, perhaps mixed in with this episode that we're seeing this flashback, we see Mizu hit that limit where she can no longer continue on in the manner that she has been. I really think this would round out so many issues that season 1 had, with Mizu just being inexplicably powerful and unstoppable, even when she does fail. Like, sometimes her failures are pretend failures, and she really ends up getting exactly what she wants. I think the strongest episodes of Blue Eye Samurai in terms of Mizu's story arc are The Bride, a full culmination of us seeing that, you know, she's fully become the Onryo that everyone has projected on her, and the episode where she melts down the 2 sword pieces. The part where they recite part of the Heart Sutra and she tells I forgot his name, her apprentice, there are some things that you can't do alone, was so succinct, and it felt very important to her character, because I think that that realization from her does address a little bit of her failures and plot holes. She's coming to a change, and she's coming to realize that she can't keep going in the manner that she has been. And I think that moment as well also makes the show all the stupid shit that happens. Worth it. I mean, it's such a beautiful moment. The Heart Sutra is like a beautiful sutra that really, I found the Heart Sutra at a time where I needed it in my life, and I didn't even fully understand what it meant, but it spoke to something like deeper in me. So then seeing Mizu go through that same change as well, that alchemical change, is beautiful storytelling. If we don't get this sort of plot fixative in season 2, I trust that the show will also be like aesthetically pleasing enough to really wave away some of the stupidity too, because that's another strength point. Like, this show is so beautiful. The scenes, compositions, the character designs, it's so illustrative, and it feels so intentional in every frame that it's like, okay, this show could be bad story-wise and I would still watch it because the animation has so much intention in it. But yeah, I'm crossing my fingers for I'm definitely crossing my fingers for us to see a time in Mizu's life where she's training super hard with the sword with an actual samurai master. And I'm crossing my fingers for Mizu in general because we love our non-binary monarch.